Wasting money on your hair. Just chop it off. My mother-in-law aggressively cuts my hair. As I couldn't handle her constant harassment, I returned to my parents' house. Then I received news from my husband that she'd had an accident and was paralyzed from the waist down. She had the accident because of you. Now you take care of her. My husband intended to leave her care entirely to me. As I couldn't handle her constant harassment, after everything she did, I didn't want to take care for her. I refused my husband's demand and proposed divorce. My name is Layla, 30 years old. I lived with my husband, Cairo. After our marriage, I quit my full-time job and started working part-time. Cairo often returned late from business dinners, leaving all the housework to me. Balancing house chores and a part-time job was tough, but I did it for Cairo. One day, a call came on Cairo's cell phone. The content left him breathless. It seems Dad passed away. I was shocked and we hurried to the hospital. My mother-in-law was crying next to my father-in-law's side. After that, she seemed devastated and Cairo was worried. Even over the phone, she sounded down. To lift her spirits, Cairo suggested we move in together. She might get depressed living alone. I think living together might cheer her up. Feeling I should support as a daughter-in-law, I agreed. This decision threw my life into chaos. The morning after moving in, I walked into the living room to find my mother-in-law already awake and yelling at me. "Why are you still sleeping?" "Huh? It's only 6:30 a.m., isn't it? What are you saying? You're the daughter-in-law. Shouldn't you be up by 5 a.m., mopping and preparing breakfast? Just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you can be lazy." She often made comments suggesting life was easy for me since I didn't have kids. She eagerly awaited a grandchild and seemed bothered that 2 years into our marriage we hadn't had one yet. Cairo and I hadn't been worried, believing we'd eventually have children. Yet my mother-in-law thought I was infertile and started calling me a worthless daughter-in-law. From that day on, her harassment began. Not only in the mornings, but when I returned home in the evenings, I had to simultaneously prepare dinner, clean the bathroom, and do the laundry. "Dinner is at 6 p.m. and I take my shower at 7 p.m. Make sure everything's ready." She acted like she was some sort of queen. Even though she never helped with chores, she constantly followed me around, complaining about how inefficient I was. Juggling part-time work and household chores was hard enough, but the constant snide comments pushed me to my limits mentally. One night, after Cairo returned from a business dinner, I tried talking to him. "I wish mother-in-law would help a bit around the house. I can't do everything, especially when I'm working part-time." "What? Housework is a wife's job, right? My mom used to do it back in the day." "But I have my part-time job." "Enough, I'm going to bed." He completely brushed me off. Mother-in-law's harassment towards me escalated day by day. One day after breakfast, when I went back to my room, I found her rummaging through my closet. She was holding my underwear. "What are you doing?" "So, you wear such plain-colored underwear? No wonder you're not appealing. Please don't invade my privacy like that. We're family, it's okay. Anyway, maybe I'll tell our neighbors. Perhaps Cairo isn't interested in you because of these old-fashioned underwear. When will you finally show us a grandchild?" I had no choice but to silently endure her over-the-top comments. Cairo wasn't supporting me, and I didn't have any friends close to the in-laws' house. Even the neighbors believed mother-in-law's words. I had no allies. I initially thought maybe mother-in-law was hard on me because she had been strictly raised when it came to household chores. But it seemed she wasn't strict about chores, she just enjoyed bothering me for fun. When I went shopping, neighbors would gossip about me, and mother-in-law would watch, laughing happily. On a day off, when Cairo didn't have any golf appointments, I tried discussing it with him again. I want mother-in-law to stop bad-mouthing me. She's spreading nasty rumors. I hoped that, if he wasn't drunk, he'd listen to me. But without lifting his eyes from his phone, Cairo sighed, clearly annoyed. Don't blame everything on my mom. If people are talking bad about you, there must be a reason. I haven't done anything wrong. If you hadn't done anything, you wouldn't be bad-mouthing me. All you do is complain. Just focus on the housework. I can't believe. His cold response left me speechless. He was so kind when we got married, but he changed after we started living together. I stood there, shocked, for what seemed like hours. Just when I felt emotionally and physically drained, something unthinkable happened. That day, my mother-in-law was out for lunch with some local friends. As soon as she returned, she stormed into the living room with a scowl. "Welcome back. I'm so annoyed." "What happened?" The luncheon was awful. Everyone boasted about their grandkids. They even suggested that maybe we aren't having grandchildren because we live together. Is it my fault? They blame me because you haven't gotten pregnant. You're a woman. Get on with having a child. Excuse me? Her outburst took me by surprise. True, I wasn't pregnant, but we married later in life. It's not unusual for someone my age. She must have been left out of the grandchild boasting conversation and felt frustrated. She always wanted to be the center of attention. Are you seeking fertility treatments? We haven't yet. We haven't been married that long, and I think there's no need to rush. And those treatments, they require time and money. Honestly, I wasn't that worried about it. However, she looked unconvinced and agitated, sitting in her chair. Money is the problem? You spent quite a bit on that fancy shampoo, spending on that hair of yours. You checked the price? That doesn't matter. If you can't spend on that, then get fertility treatments and show me my grandchild's face already. Isn't that a daughter-in-law's job? How I spend my money is my business. I always took pride in my long, straight blonde hair. I received compliments on my hair since childhood and took great care of it. Of course, I bought my shampoo and conditioner with the money I earned. She looked at me, giving a sinister smile. Suddenly, she grabbed a fistful of my hair and pulled it hard. It would be better if this expensive hair of yours just disappeared. Ouch, stop it! Unbelievably, she took out scissors and began cutting my hair. Stop, please! No, not my hair! You're so noisy. I'll cut it real short. Before I knew it, my beautiful hair lay in tatters around me. Feeling my head, it was unevenly cut, as short as a man's. It suits you. Seeing me cry, mother-in-law let out a creepy laugh. In an instant, the hair so precious to me was gone. The shock and sheer cruelty of it left me devastated. I was at my breaking point. I had hoped that if I tried hard enough, things might get better between us. I thought I had to endure, but I just couldn't anymore. That day, I left a message for Cairo, going back to my parents' place for a while, and I headed home. After leaving the in-laws' house, Cairo tried to reach out a few times, but I ignored his calls. It was my third day back home. Unexpectedly, in the daytime, a call from Cairo came in, and I picked up. "Hey, how long are you planning to stay at your parents'? Get back here now." His shouting forced me to pull the phone away from my ear. "Lower your voice. I'm sorry, but I don't plan on coming back for a while." "What are you saying? Just come back. Mom had an accident." "An accident?" I decided to go to the hospital immediately. Heading to the room they mentioned, I saw mother-in-law lying down with a respirator on. "All your fault. You just leave and go back home. Not taking care of our house. Because of you, Mom got hit by a car." "How is her accident related to me?" "Because you didn't cook. Mom went out to shop and got hit. If you were doing your chores, this wouldn't have happened." This twisted logic made no sense, but seeing mother-in-law in that state, I couldn't respond. She had undergone major surgery with many IVs attached. Then, a doctor entered to explain her injuries. Your mother has severe damage from her waist down. She might be paralyzed. What? It will heal, right? If there's a nerve damage, a full recovery will be challenging. No way. Cairo, overwhelmed by shock, held his head in disbelief. When mother-in-law woke up, she was indeed paralyzed from the waist down, just as the doctor had said. Seeing mother-in-law's condition, Cairo exploded at me once more. This is all your fault. You take care of everything. No way. What did you say? If you don't care for mom, let's divorce. A part-time worker like you won't earn much and can't live on your own. Cairo thinks I can't afford to divorce because I'm not financially independent. Mother-in-law looked down on me with a smug smile that resembled her own. Fine, let's get a divorce. Huh? Are you serious? You can't survive on just part-time work. Well, yes, my income has decreased since I started working, but I have savings. I can get by for a while. If I work hard and find another job, it will be okay. Even if I run into financial difficulties, I'd rather be poor than live with you. Cairo's face turned beet red at my words. You think you're so smart? You'll regret this. I pulled out the divorce papers from my bag. I'm glad. I brought these hoping you'd agree to sign them. Please sign them quickly. I had brought the divorce papers from the hospital in case I had a chance to have him sign them. Irritated, Cairo signed the papers and threw them at me. Enjoy your miserable life. Ignoring Cairo's words, I immediately headed to the courthouse to file the papers. I was honestly nervous, but I felt there was no going back with Cairo. He didn't even comment on how my hair, which I had cherished, was now short. He knew how much I valued my hair. Didn't he find it odd that I suddenly cut it? He probably doesn't care about me at all. He must have only seen me as a housemaid. I no longer wanted to be with someone like that. Dad helped me move. My parents warmly welcomed me back home and said they'd help me out financially as much as they could. However, Dad had also retired, so I couldn't solely rely on their financial support. While working part-time, I began job hunting. Having a certified public accountant qualification, a small local company hired me. The income isn't very high, but it's enough to live on. It was during these times of relishing my new life. Cairo showed up at my childhood home. Through the door, I could hear Cairo shouting, "I'm sorry, please come back to me." Didn't you refuse that before? Why now? It's been hard since Mom was discharged from the hospital. I then listened to Cairo's story. After the hospital, Mom couldn't walk anymore and became wheelchair-bound. We couldn't take care of her at home, so we admitted her to a facility. But she was verbally abusive to other residents and even hit the caregivers. They said they couldn't keep someone violent, so they asked her to leave. There's no room in nearby facilities. It's impossible to work and take care of Mom. That sounds rough. Honestly, I couldn't care less. I listened to Cairo, hoping he'd leave soon to avoid disturbing the neighbors. Why not give it another shot? I'll work like before, and you handle the housework and Mom. That would make things easier, right? It must be tough with your current income. Are you still working part-time? Thankfully, I found a full-time job. Really? But you probably don't earn much, right? I've been working for over 10 years now. I've been promoted, and my salary isn't bad. I can still support you like before. Living together will be better for you too, right? Think it over. Cairo's words left me flabbergasted. Did he seriously think that caring for that ex-mother-in-law was easier than working? I'd rather work overtime every day than live like that. Don't assume I'm struggling. I have no complaints about my current life and have no plans to care for anyone. Please, even if you don't want to remarry, just show up for Mom. She always talks about you. Cairo's voice was getting louder, probably from excitement. "He's so stubborn, he'd probably stay until I agreed to go to his house. If this went on, there'd be rumors in the neighborhood." Reluctantly, I decided to go to my former in-law's house. "Keep your voice down. You're causing a scene." "I'm so glad I missed you." Cairo seemed to think I'd just let everything slide. Happily, he grabbed my hand and led me to his car. It had been a while since I last visited the former in-law's house. As Cairo opened the entrance door, a loud shout greeted us. "I'm home! Where were you?" The irritating voice of the ex-mother-in-law weighed heavily on me. I never wanted to come here again. Entering the living room, I was taken aback. Grocery bags were scattered everywhere, filled with empty containers. Empty plastic bottles and used adult diapers were strewn across the floor. "What have you been doing? Take me to the bathroom now." "Hey, where's the caregiver? Didn't you hire one for today?" "We don't need someone so useless. Absolutely no delicacy and completely incompetent." "That's the fifth caregiver. Enough is enough." "Quiet. My body can't move freely. Help me out already." The ex-mother-in-law, now in a wheelchair, had become even more unbearable over time. With care facilities turning her down and caregivers not lasting, Cairo was at his wits' end. When she noticed me, she hurled a nearby water bottle in my direction. "You! How dare you show your face? All this happened because of you. Take responsibility, stupid daughter-in-law." She tried to hit me in her agitated state, but toppled over from her wheelchair since her legs wouldn't move. Though she tried to get up, her paralysis held her down. Only her face turned towards me. No matter how angrily she glared, I wasn't intimidated. "I'm not your daughter-in-law anymore." "Hey, don't talk to Layla like that." "Layla, I'm embarrassed, but I can't even handle daily life anymore. Please, let's make things right." "Absolutely not. Manage your job and caregiving. I used to handle all the housework and my job, remember? You never helped." "I know I messed up. I'm truly sorry. It wasn't just about making you do the housework. I shouldn't have sided with Mom against you." An apology now is too late. Too late. I won't remarry him just to care for her. I can't even think of remarrying. "No way. I'll pay you, just for the housework. I have a job now. I don't plan on becoming a housekeeper." Cairo apologized deeply. Watching him apologize sincerely to the still incapacitated ex-mother-in-law was a sight. "You've been heartless ever since I started listening. Don't you feel sorry for me?" The ex-mother-in-law clearly didn't understand her weakened position. She glared like a monster. "That's unfortunate. With that attitude, you'll end up alone." "Shut up! Stop acting so superior!" "Mom, apologize to Layla. Layla left because of you." "I did nothing wrong. I just taught this incompetent daughter-in-law how to do housework." "Well, maybe you should do it." "I can't with this body." "Oh, there are people in the same situation as you living independently, yet you use your condition as an excuse." Her words from that day about not using work as an excuse echoed back at her. "How can you say that to an injured person? The nerve!" She hit the floor in frustration. "Isn't it a son's job to take care of his parents? Good luck." At my words, Cairo's face turned pale. Ignoring both Cairo and the ex-mother-in-law, I left the house. No matter how much they pleaded, I wouldn't live with them, especially not with such a woman. And so, they both faced the consequences of treating people so carelessly. Cairo, exhausted from caregiving, started making mistakes at work and was fired. He tried to find another job, but his drained appearance didn't help. He now apparently manages by working a part-time cleaning job. The ex-mother-in-law developed bad sores and is now hospitalized. Still, she's known for her abusive language and actions towards the nursing staff and is becoming a nuisance. Her release from the hospital might be soon. Well, it's none of my concern. I heard about all this from a former co-worker. Having settled into my job with a steady income, I started living alone. And then I met someone special. He's a colleague from my current job and he approached me. "Your hair is so beautiful." I still vividly remember when he first said that to me. After my ex-mother-in-law cut my hair, I went to the salon and ended up with a very short hairstyle. But now, it's grown past my shoulders. We've been dating for several months now, and both my work and personal life have never been better. My current boyfriend is a great cook and he doesn't mind doing household chores at all. He's so different from Cairo, who never helped out around the house. Looking back, I wish I had divorced sooner. I was held back by financial worries, but once I took the leap, things fell into place. In fact, without the burden of housework and the snide comments from my ex-mother-in-law, I found more physical and mental energy. Not only am I doing well in my job, but I've also started a side business and my income is increasing. In my previous marriage, I spent so much time for the sake of the household. Now, I'm determined to cherish the time for myself.